And welcome once again to the Iconist podcast. Thank you for tuning in. As always, I am one of your hosts, Barry 3D. And on my side, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, my cousin, my best friend, the DJ, the one that got you dancing all night long, all night, all night. The one and only. Who am I talking about?
Rod C. Ladies and gentlemen, I go by the name of Rod C. Welcome to another episode of Iconist Podcast. The icon is...
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in that mood today. So before we get into that, we got to go around and do the round table. So let's see we get through this here, as quick as possible. Let's see if I can do it in record time today. Yeah, first. Maybe not. So first and foremost, we got to thank my boys that I roll with all the time that does stand-up comedy along with me. So that's me, Barry 3D, with Zulf Ali and Dave Sokolowski. And the name of the troupe, you know it. If you don't, here it comes. A Touch of Gray Matter. Wow. Your eyes peeled. Look for it. We're coming up back again. So always, these are my guys I run with individually or together as a group doing fundraisers. You want to find out where I'm going to be? Go to my website. Very simple. Barry3D.com. You hit my website, you'll find all my tour dates and everything associated with this show. And when I do solo, it's all up there and more stuff coming on the blog. 2, please like, subscribe, and share, rate, and review our show. Check it out on YouTube. Check it out wherever you get your podcast from. Join our community page. We've got things and polls up there that need people to vote on. And I keep promising some more is coming on the way. So please check it out. Join the page. Be a part of our community. And let's get this going. You want to do a podcast? You can always jump on what we did, and we went on Podbean. So if you want to find our podcast, that's very simple. It's iconist.podbean.com. And you too, if you want to do one, you can go to Podbean and jump on a podcast and make your own. Why not? There's not enough in the world, and I'm not being sarcastic. It's very true because every individual has story. What? On fire. Speaking of podcasts and people supporting the arts, let's remember, our friend Brandy Ford. He has her magazine, The Writer and the Witch. She also has a radio show on the AM station. Look for it. She's covering a whole lot of stuff. It's amazing. It's great. We're in there. Show her some love. You can't go wrong. Yeah. And last but not least, the other man, the myth, the legend. He's the third member of this crew, even though you only seen him once on the show. You got to come on back, dude. And if you plan on doing a podcast, well, first of all, you need a logo. You may need a template. You might need some kind of, merch to kind of design around. Why do that yourself? Go and get yourself a professional. I did. We did. You too. Right? And if you want to get one, of course, you want to get one that's good, timely, and cost effective. And if you mentioned that you heard about him on the Iconist podcast, he would give you a discount. Who are we talking about, Rod?
Talking about J. Bird Digital Art.
J. Bird Digital Art. You tell him you heard about him here on the Iconist podcast, and he too will hook you up, and you can do what we do. Because remember, there's a lot of shows out there. You don't have to be dedicated to just one. You can show the love. That's right. That's how we do. And remember, support the books, because without the books, we wouldn't have a topic to talk about. So please go to your comic book stores, show them some love, and keep the industry alive and growing. If you're out in Kitchener, check out Wes over at Wow Comics. Tell him and the rest of the guys we said hi, right? So that's Wes, Ramon, Sydney, and Chris. Tell them all we said hi. And if you're for our fans over in Montreal, please go over to the South Shore, right? Have a poutine off or Tacheron on Belle Province and make a pit stop where? At Check Swings. And tell Trevor and Pierre and Dom that we said hi. So please, once again, those are the books that support us. Here we go. I think I did that in record time. All right, then. I don't think I missed anybody. And Rod, real quick, where can we find you before we move on?
You can find me on the World Wide Web. You can find me on Instagram at Mr. Rod C. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/VJ Rod C. Also find me on the world of TikTok. Find me there at DJ Rod C1. DJ Rod C1. Let's go. Reach out. We'll say hi. I'll say hi back. Let's go.
Now, you seen the title? You might be thinking, huh? We've seen it. No, you haven't. Here we go. We are talking about today. The icon is on Iconist. The one and only. Who?
Galactus.
We decided to touch on this character because, in my opinion, This character was done dirty in the original Fantastic Four movie. Well, not the original Fantastic Four movie. I'm going to say the most recent Fantastic Four movies. Let's just do that. Right. Okay. Yeah. They made Galactus with, Rise of the Silver Surfer. I'm like, okay, I'm all in. Fantastic Four, all in. And then they made Galactus a gaseous cloud.
Really? A baking pardon? Pardon?
Excusez-moi?
Excusez-moi.
Ben non. Ben non, ça marche pas, là. Ça marche pas. No. Voyons donc. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, a little bit of parlez-vous français, for our people in Montreal. Right on. So Galactus, why do we say you got to put some respect on his name, like my man Birdman would say. So Galactus made his first appearance in March of 1966 in Fantastic Four, issue number 48, volume 1. What? He was created by Stan the Man Lee and Jack the King Kirby. Galactus is a man with an appetite.
Just that.
Misunderstood individual. Right? And he said he made his first appearance. So he's now a tall, huge man. And he comes to Earth for the first time and he hungered, like Tyrese and hungry and Fast and Furious. And the reason that Galactus was made back then. So at this point now, Stan Lee was working for a while. Him and his wife were talking. He was kind of getting, disillusioned with the comic book industry. He wanted to step away. And his wife turned around and said, hey, before you walk away, you're fed up with the comic book industry. He's like, yeah. He goes, well, his wife will say, well, then Joan was like, well, why don't you do, if you're going to leave anyways, what would make you happy? You always complain the books are not done your way. Do a book the way you want to do a book there, Stan. If you're planning on quitting, who cares? If it's a success, okay. If it fails, well, at least you did one. And Stan turned around and said, okay, you know what, Jonah, I'm going to take your advice. I'm going to do a comic book the way I want to do a comic book. And he got together and he went and did the comic book and he created the Fantastic Four. And he did it his way. He did it his way. And wow, it was a success. Because the comic books at the time were written in a different point of view. They were very generic. They didn't have much depth to the characters. And with the Fantastic Four, you got a whole family dynamic depth. They were flawed. They had their moments. They were more tangible than the characters we've seen before that. So right on. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is because as time's going on now, a couple of issues are in. And the writers are coming up. He's working for Marvel at the time. Before it was I think Timely Comics, and now it's changed to Marvel. They're like, hey, we need something different from you, Jack. We need villains for the heroes to fight that are not your stereotypical villains. We don't want to do no more gangsters, right? You don't want your as I said, your flat villains where it's like, I'm robbing a bank. See, they wanted someone once again with depth. Character, tangible, someone's likable, even though they're a villain. That's why we got our Doctor Dooms and all, and Namors, right? Anti-heroes. And so they came up with Galactus. So that was the whole genesis of Galactus back then. And then Jack Kirby turned around and said, well, I need inspiration. So Jack Kirby got the inspiration from reading the Bible and doing the whole Galactus Silver Surfer story as God, and Silver Surfer representing a fallen angel.
Right.
What? Now, everyone pretty much generally knows the story from the Silver Surfer. It's very well documented, but now the story of Galactus, did you know? That was the real world creation back in 1966. Jack Kirby was a huge thinker, really outside the box. Come up with something like that, like taking the Bible and then turning around and saying, "Here's your villain," but he's not a villain. Well, what do you mean? So the whole thing with him is Galactus. Before he was Galactus, he was on a planet that in the far reaches in the universe, and they came from an extremely advanced society. When you see the planet has certain things like, they're flying over a volcano. So he's in a bubble. They're showing the occupants in a bubble, in a sphere that's transparent. And it's, two people in there, and they're flying over a volcano with the flames splashing over it. And they're going through unharmed just because they wanted to get a closer look. Their technology was so advanced that, and nothing was, it had peace and harmony, and no one had to worry for nothing until this one scientist, because that's where they put their pursuits. This one scientist, and his name was Galen, turns around and says, "Hey, I've been kind of exploring some stuff here, and I realize there's a catastrophe coming." Very much similar to how it was with Krypton.
I wonder.
I wonder who. Ooh. Okay, so very similar. But where, Jor-El was saying, "Hey, planet's about to blow." Galen was saying, "Right, this universe is about to go." It's not even the planet, was the universe. Like the universe they were in, they were so far advanced that he turned around and they made a rocket ship. And when people were dying on his planet, which was not Tau, Tay.
Tay, yep.
Yeah, Tay. Taa.
Yeah.
Is that it? Is it Taa?
Yeah.
All right, then.
Yeah,
Hey. So when the planet of Tay was Taya, there we go, Taya. When the planet of Taya was going and people were dying from radiation poisoning and so forth, he got together with 3 other scientists in a rocket ship.
Got room for 2 more coming in. Let's go.
So let me see. 4 people in a rocket ship. Origin, 4 people in the Fantastic Four rocket ship. Okay, so he gets in there with 3 other people in a rocket ship. I see that I saw any similarities just now. And flew out in there to the source of what was causing this destruction. Now, of course, explosion, crash, bang, boom. Here we go. 3 out of the 4 pass away. Galen survives, but he hears a voice. And this voice says, "I'm the essence of this cosmos, and I too am dying. But if the 2 of us kind of die together, we can come back reborn as something else." Once again, that cosmic radiation stuff. Radiation, space, force people. Okay, go ahead. Well, just checking. So he gets up there, he says yes to the whole scenario to die and be reborn. And when this happens, he's reborn. And he takes whatever is from his ship and he restructures his rocket ship into like it looks like a giant square, but it's got it's very advanced technology, and he's all like energy, and he goes into a deep, deep, deep sleep. And while his ship is going through the cosmos and he's sleeping, and it's years that are passing by, inhabitants of another planet see this going through and say, "Oh no, we might be getting attacked. Let's get them before they get us. Charge!" And they go in there and they charge. They start attacking the ship, and they wake him up, and hold on, maybe I'm getting the story a little bit backwards. I think I'm getting the story backwards on this point. And I apologize. I'm not perfect, people, but he did get attacked. Oh, that's it. Sorry. My bad. So let's go back. He's in his energy form. He doesn't get attacked. He's going through the cosmos. And then one of the people for the Watchers from their planet, one of the Watchers see this object, want to know what's going on. So they go over there to observe. And when they go over to observe, then they see him in his energy form. My apologies. In his energy form, he comes out and he's just pure energy. And the Watcher's watching him. So the Watcher stepping onto a ship caused him to wake up prematurely. He wasn't done all the energy merging into who he was supposed to be. He's left being Galen. He's in this transitional phase before becoming officially Galactus. So he comes out of his chamber, sees him, he kind of chases the Watcher off, and then he goes back to sleep. Then, while the ship is going, it gets seen by inhabitants of another world. They attack him. Now, because the ship is under attack, he wakes up and he's in a humanoid form, but the energy, he needs something to help contain the energy. So with his bare hands, he uses his thought process and creates his outfit, which helps regulate his energy from scratch, like bare molecules. He's just shooting at the air, and his boots form, and his gloves form, his helmet forms. his whole outfit forms at the time, though he didn't have pants. He had on like almost like a skirt kind of thing, so his legs were exposed, right, like a kilt. That was the original look, and he had different colors. His colors weren't purple and blue. His colors were like green and red, and he looked like a Christmas tree. So that's his original costume when he showed up in the original Fantastic Four. Later on, it changed to a purple, bluish kind of scheme, which is a better scheme now, color scheme than it was originally. He turns around, puts that outfit on, and then, he turns around and attacks the planet. He starts attacking his attackers. He starts, draining their energy, and then realizing it's like, hey, this tastes kind of good. I need more. I've got a hunger. And started destroying, and for our point of view, he's destroying. His point of view, he was hungry. Eating. That's it. Right? Like how we look at we go to this grocery market, we might drive by a farm and see a cow in the distance. We go to a grocery market and we're buying the meat. We don't think twice of it, right? We need to eat. If you're hungry, you're going to get something to eat. You're not really thinking that this used to be a pig and this used to be a cow and that used to be a chicken. No, you just walk in and say, give me a burger, give me some bacon on it, and by the way, can I get some chicken McNuggets? Clearly I'm hungry. So this is what Galactus was. So he doesn't look at it. So he was a villain per se, but more complex than that. He's not your straight up villain that he was trying to take over the world. He wasn't trying to ruin all life. He was just imbued with the powers of, as people would see, as destruction and life. He had, him merging with that cosmic universe energy.
Entity. Yep.
Entity. Thank you very much. Caused him to get immortality, but have the hunger. Yeah.
We'll get back to the hunger. We'll get
the hunger. Yeah. What do you think of Galactus there, Rod?
Well, Galactus is a very interesting individual. As you said, Jack Kirby and Stan were given the option to make a villain, quote unquote. But in reality, he's just an entity. And the viewpoint, you made a good point in saying about like saying you don't think about when you're, when you have to kill the meat to feed and stuff along that line. Going back to how Kirby basically created him as per se like a quote unquote demigod in that sense, and the fallen angels of Silver Surfer and all the heralds, finding nutrient for him, which we'll get to later on in the story. You realize what is a person but an ant to such a high, magnificent type of individual. So he's not a villain. He's just, I don't see you in the same limelight that you think I should be seeing you. To you, I'm this big, huge individual. To you, you're just in my way. I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
I think the hunger's coming. So I like Galactus for that particular part that, it's a different dynamic. It's a different viewpoint. It's basically a different point of view of how antagonist and sometimes a protagonist is looked upon. And I like this, that we don't have that same eye to eye level with this individual, but we can now see him like saying from his point of view, he's not purposely trying to be evil, trying to be a villain. I just need to eat. And that's it.
That's it. That's all it is. If you go outside and you mow your lawn, right? That's you have Galactus mentality, because you're not thinking of all the biosphere that's on your lawn. You're not thinking about the ants, the spiders, the beetles, all those creatures, worms. You're not thinking about that. You're just going outside and mowing your lawn. You're going out there, and that's what he looks at us. He looks at us as humans, as an annoyance, a pest. Because first of all, even on the scale of it, when Galactus is here, he seems to get taller and taller depending who draws him. But
True.
He's a tall, huge humanoid demigod. He doesn't see, when you're in your room and you're watching TV or doing whatever, and you hear and there's a fly buzzing by your ear, you just get up and swat it. And if it's not bothering you, you don't go near it. That's us, the Galactus. That's his mentality. And that's what we have to understand. Now, we look at it from, oh my gosh, this is the Earth. This is where we live. Please don't destroy it. What are you going to do? And he's looking at like, yeah, that's a wafer.
That's it. Yeah, I want to go get some ice cream. Let me just get some cone and just put the ice cream ball. Click, click.
Exactly.
That's it.
right? And of course, the Earth is like, what? Mostly it's seven. Most of it's water. So pretty much, we're freezy.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
We're the Earth is like a Jello shot for Galactus. So necessarily, when we say he eats the planets, that's what they use it. They use him. They call him the devourer of world. He doesn't physically get down there and start biting the planets and start eating it away. He drains all the energy that would be used. So he drains off, be the Earth's core, the atmosphere, any of that kinetic, any kind of that energy that it's around. He drains it, so no life can survive on a planet after. He breaks down the molecule structure of it, so the planet will just crumble in itself as dust, like it never existed. And Sweep on next, he's gone to the next planet. Right? Right? Like Galactus wants to be at a buffet. That boy can eat. So this is why he wouldn't stop at the Earth's moon to drain that. There is no energy on the moon, but there's energy on Earth. There's certain planets he's going to be drawn to. So this is why he's not eating every planet. He has to eat. Unfortunately, for us as humans, if we lived in that world, if we lived in a 616 universe, unfortunately for us, we know our time is numbered because he's coming. He knows where we are. He has to look, right. And that's like, even though he is scientist, he got to eat. So here's some other parts. One, Galactus. You always see Galactus on the ship, but that's not his main ship. He got two. When Galactus, was reformed, he turned around and he wanted to build a new homeworld. So this new homeworld is to us, it looks like a humongous spaceship, right? It's almost like a tube kind of square twisted, like a paper clip, so to speak, how they draw it. And he calls that Teo 2. So he named it after his home planet. That is his ship. And the technology on there is so advanced that not even the smartest man or woman on our planet, person, could figure out the technology in there. That's how far advanced it was. They were far advanced, his whole race before, and then he's taken it to another level. So that's his main ship that he always leaves in that galaxy that he'll go back to. What he goes around in is another ship that looks like a giant sphere that he travels around in. So that's pretty much his car. So the other one is his house. Picture that one, and the sphere is his car. You don't take your car with you unless you got an RV, and if that's the case, lucky. I wish. So that's the basic of it. He leaves his house in his car to go looking for this stuff, and he puts out probes. He goes out there looking himself, trying to detect the energy. So he's got the power cosmic, which, like you put it, Rod, he's like a demigod. Granted, there's no stopping Galactus when Galactus is going. With this power cosmic, he's gotten multiple names as Devourer of Worlds. He can, the Life Giver. The list goes on of the names he's had overall time, right? So that's all I got to say is, wow. So what I saw in the Fantastic Four movie, done as a gaseous cloud.
Yeah. That was
No.
a very big disappointment that
Huge.
that they even released that whole concept. Like it was really upsetting to think that even if you are not a comic book follower, the character is humanoid. There's certain things that you wouldn't like. Why would you make him a gaseous form? Like it never made any sense. I honestly tried personally. I really tried to sit down and just try to give a grain of salt of why you thought that a gaseous cloud would be considered an entity to worry about. And not to say to worry about, but to call it Galactus. Call him something else. Call him the big gray cloud. Oh, the big gray cloud is coming for us. Okay. I would accept that. No problem. But you call it Galactus? No, that was the problem.
That was I don't know if they ran out of money in the budget because they put all the special effects on the Silver Surfer. I don't know what they were thinking. Like, hey, I mean, the Silver Surfer was there and we can take our liberties with it. And then you get there and it's like, here's Galactus. And then what got me is like in that cloud, Silver Surfer's fighting him. There's a flash of light and it does like the outline of Galactus's helmet in the outline. Right. If you look for 2 seconds, you're like, that's it? No. if you made him come out the cloud, I'm like, okay, you saved yourselves,
100%, 100%.
but not even close.
This is the
So
part I was gonna say. If he came in as a shadowy figure, a full figure, like we didn't even see no color, whatever the case may be. If you're a little low on the budget or running out, pencil in, just etch or sketch a shape out of the cloud. I would accept that. The cloud is this new traveling car. You know what? I will accept
right,
that
right, yeah,
as a temporary way of saying, a hand sliding out and we just seeing no. Anyways,
right. Just even the hand with the glove, just you know,
um,
my herald. Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we're glad to say that Fantastic Four, we know it's back under Disney. We know Fantastic Four is back under Marvel. We know that they are working on a project, a Fantastic Four movie in the future. Hopefully, this will get corrected. Not even retcon,
rectified.
corrected.
Yeah, rectified. 100%.
That's right. So you want to know what Galactus does? Big thing. So here's a couple of things. One,
Mm-hmm.
Galactus doesn't need all the equipment he needs to do what he does. What I mean is he doesn't need his outfit to regulate his his powers. It just makes it a little bit easier. So don't get that
Mm-hmm.
twisted. Just like the Silver Surfer does not need his surfboard to fly.
Mm-hmm.
It just helps him
Makes
conserve
it
some
easy.
energy.
Right.
Right. Just like Galactus doesn't need his sphere to go around. He just helps him conserve some energy. Galactus is all about energy management, not expelling too much. So he does it in limited amounts. Same thing where Galactus has to take in the energies of a planet. Usually he will put machines around the world to help, refine the process. He
Mm-hmm.
doesn't need it. Right. It's the difference of, okay, you go fishing, you catch a fish, you put it on a fire outside, or you take that same fish, you clean it, and then you put it in your oven or smoker or barbecue, and then you do it that way. It just tastes a little bit better because, so that's really it. So he doesn't need those things. With the power cosmic, he's able to, uh, make things out of pure thin air, literally
Right.
machines, gadgets. He's able to imbue others with part of the power cosmic as much as he wants to give them. And this is how he makes his heralds. So
Mm-hmm.
on the aspect of the herald thing, it's like, well, why does Galactus have a herald? Well, let's see. Why do parents have kids?
Well, well, I mean, it's interesting, like you say that way. Yeah, why do parents have kids? I took it with the heralds in a sense of
Hmm.
with Silver Surfer. That was the first herald,
First
right?
one we know of. There was
The
one
first one we know.
prior one, but yeah, that was the main. Yeah, he was just for history wise, he was the first one. Let's say that. Yes.
Yeah, for the first one. And again, the not the theory, but the agreement was that Galactus basically, because of the hunger, Galactus would just devour any planet that was suitable for his needs. That's
Hmm.
it. There are no qualms or qualms. If something was on there, just again, cutting the grass. I don't have to worry about the society of what I'm about to walk over and grab from. No, I just don't mind about that. I'm just going to eat. So when it came to the one for Silver Surfer,
Hmm.
if I remember correctly, and anybody please, refresh my memory and just definitely in the comments, just, update me with that. But he basically, and oh, you know what? Let me rephrase. I'm not going to say the name just to be on the safe side. I didn't pull up right
Norrin
away.
Radd.
Norrin Radd. I see Radd. See, A was in there somewhere. Norrin Radd was basically gave an agreement by saying, don't touch my planet, spare my planet and I will become your herald and I will find you planets. Because again, as long as the planet has sustainable energy, it doesn't have to have
Yes.
life. It just has to have sustainable, sufficient amount of energy for it to sustain himself and to reduce the hunger.
Yeah.
Because if you
Yeah.
really think about it, when you eat, you think you technically reducing, you're stopping the hunger. And technically, you've knocked it back down from 100% down to 1%. But as soon as you finish eating, it's going to slowly grow back again. So Galactus' mantra was basically, I need something just to hold me off. I need something to hold me off. I need
Right.
something to hold me off. That's it. So Silver Surfer made the agreement in doing that. So that's how I take it, that the Heralds are there to basically navigate, or at least the ones who at least had a conscience.
Exactly. And yes, you're right. So the ones had a conscience. So you're right. You're on the right track. So Norrin Radd. So Galactus went to Norrin Radd's planet, says, "Hey man, I found this planet. I'm gonna eat it." Norrin Radd went to it. It's like, "Hey, you don't have to." He was like, Galactus is like, "Why? It's just a planet." And Norrin's like, "No, it's where I live, dude." So how about we make a deal? And Norrin, that's when Galactus and Norrin had that conversation. And Galactus said, "Hey, well, I used to have a herald. If I had a herald to find a planet for me, I could
And that was
spare
it. Yeah.
yours." And then, so you're on the right road, Rod. So the only difference is that Norrin, as you put it, you clicked it before. Norrin had a conscience. Norrin says, "I will sacrifice myself, become your herald." And Galactus, you realize what that means. You'll be my herald forever, right? Because keep in mind, Galactus is immortal. So forever, I'm going to give you power cosmic. You're going to turn into my herald forever. I will spare your world, but you got to find me other planets to, manja on.
You're on the payroll right now, sir. Are you prepared to be on my payroll?
Here's the terms, right? That's what we call a good relationship. Put all your stuff up front. You both agree on it, and if you both agree on it, you move on. Okay. This whole Silver Surfer. I mean, he had, Norrin Radd had his fiance that was there to spare her his planet. He turned around and said, "Yes, I will do it." And that's how he became the Silver Surfer. Galactus gave him part of the power cosmic, made him the Silver Surfer. And the Silver Surfer can do like 100 tons, fly through stars and novas, move at, light speed, project energies, teleport. And that's only a small portion of what Galactus can do. Kind of whatever you can do, I can do better.
That's exactly it.
Exactly. What I was going back by having kids is, okay, you have kids, you love your kids, you have kids, and at one point, what your kids got to do? Kid got to do a chore. You expect your kids to do some work. So when mom and dad turn around and say, "Hey, well, you know what? We've worked all day. We've come in. The grass has to get cut. Why am I cutting the grass? Hey, Junior, get out there and hustle and do the grass." And that was exactly what it was. So you could look at it as a fallen angel, as a parent having a child, a certain kind of a understanding relationship that Silver Surfer and the Heralds, their understanding was, our agreement is spare this planet. I will find you one that is suitable. Now, because the Silver Surfer has a conscience, he's not going to look for planets that are inhabited. He's finding uninhabited planets for Galactus. So it took him a little bit longer, but nobody died on his watch. That was his thing. And to even solidify it, what Galactus didn't do, didn't state, is when he gave him the power cosmic, Galactus wiped Norrin Radd's memory, which he can do. Galactus can move a person's soul, he can move it around. He wiped his memory. So he wouldn't know about his fiance, Shanabal or Shanna, right? And can't remember his home planet and don't know where it is. And he just went out there. He forgot even about it being Norrin Radd. He just knew that, I'm the Silver Surfer. Away he goes. And Galactus is like, "Yeah, let's just leave." So that's his role. So Galactus is there just waiting. When you go to a restaurant, you tell the waiter what you want. Waiter disappears in the back. And then they come back with food. That is it.
Right. The only difference with this one
is the waiter.
The waiter, but the only difference is that at least, actually, no, we'll put it this way. The herald is the waiter, and the waiter now is escorting you to your meal.
Exactly. Come this way, sir. I will sit you down and I will let you feast on this one. And while you're enjoying it, everything's good, I'm going to go and find you an appetizer. And
I'll be right back.
I'll be right back. So Galactus is, to me, I think it was a foray or the birth. And I'll say this, and this is just my own little observation. I think that was Jack Kirby's maybe first, early attempt at new gods. Now think about the new gods. I'm talking about Darkseid, Orion, Highfather, advanced technologies, immortal, coming, using religious text, subtext in the background or archetypes to make these characters heroes and villains. Now, I know that the new gods and all of them are under DC and Galactus is Marvel, but originally Kirby wanted to do the new gods under Marvel, and Marvel at the time told him no. This is why he jumped to DC, and DC says, "And you tell it like you go, do whatever you want." And that's why he came up with Mr. Terrific, and the rest of New Gods finally got fleshed out. But I think the ideas were always rattling around in his head, and Galactus is that first foray into that, because if you're a fan of the New Gods and you're a fan of Galactus, they can coexist. There was even a one shot crossover drawn by John Bryant, where it was Galactus versus Darkseid, and the Silver Surfer was there along with Orion, and the two of them went head to head.
Interesting.
Right. Okay. So Galactus has had great storylines. If you want to do it, you got to read like volume 1 of the Silver Surfer to get an idea with Galactus. You got to read the Resurrection of Galactus, the Death of Galactus, Resurrection of Galactus. Those are real good reading material. And with Galactus, so that was the whole thing with him and the Silver Surfer. Yes, the Silver Surfer did come to Earth because he saw that the planet could be suitable. His mind was still wiped at this point, and he called Galactus. And then after calling Galactus, putting out the beacon saying, "Hey, it's this way," and Galactus was on his way, Silver Surfer started exploring the world and realized, there's life on here. What have I done?
Mm-hmm. Right.
He fought 3 out of the Fantastic Four, because remember, there was 4 guys in a rocket ship. Okay, so he fought 3 out of the Fantastic Four to easy, not even a standstill. He just left because he's like, they're beneath him. They couldn't take him down. I'm talking, that's the Human Torch, Mr. Fantastic, and the Thing. They couldn't even slow him down at one point. And then it was Sue Storm not fighting him, but the Invisible Woman, or Invisible Girl at the time. He reasoned with him in that issue number 48, saying, "What are you doing? This is who we are. Here's the Earth. It's got people on it. It's got this," and it kind of started jogging his memories. And this is why the Silver Surfer rebelled against Galactus, saying, "No, you can't eat this planet." And that's a whole storyline where the Watcher, whatever his name, the Watcher, I always mispronounce his name, the one that's on the moon that we know about, came down to Earth and said, "Hey," and this is where the Fantastic Four first encountered the Silver Surfer, Utah, the Watcher. He's not supposed to interfere, but he didn't want the planet to die, and told him about the ultimate nullifier that can kill Galactus and kind of where to look for it. And this is where they got in. And then Galactus himself. So there was a cosmic tale in those couple of issues, starting off in issue number 48. Watcher, pretty much first appearance. Galactus, first appearance. Silver Surfer, pretty much, first appearance. It's like, ooh, there was a lot going on in those around, 47, 48 issues, issue 47, 48, starting off, that still is, relevant up to now.
Right.
And, it came down that Reed Richards got the ultimate nullifier, says, "Hey man, I'll pull this trigger." He's like, "Well, you destroy everything." He goes, "Well, better destroy it and take you out than having you live." Galactus saw that. That's the only time I think Galactus ever felt any fear since becoming Galactus. And he said, whoa, let's talk. Okay, here's the deal. I'll spare Earth. I'll leave. I'll find another planet. Yes, by the way, Silver Surfer, Norrin, Radd, you betrayed me. I'm going to put in a shield around the Earth that you will never pass out. And he goes, everybody else can pass out, go back and forth, no problem. But anyone that has the power cosmic in them, not cosmic radiation, power cosmic in them, cannot pass this invisible barrier. This is your new home. You're a surfer of the spaceways, now stuck here. Aye! And of course, it proceeded to get other heralds, which we'll talk about another time. But this is the whole thing on Galactus. Jeez.
Right.
Jeez.
Ooh, one thing I want to bring up.
Yes.
We've been all talking about the hunger. And to give a little more clarity on the hunger, doing a quick little research, I was able to figure out, which I always wondered, how long can Galactus last in between eating? Like, in the question, sense that, okay. Yeah. So basically finding out that on average, I mean, for him to be at peak power levels, he can basically feed once a month. That's at peak if he wants to do that. But if he doesn't have anything, again, because as we said, there were times that he didn't get nourishment, he didn't get sustenance right away, type of scenario. And again, going from one place to another. Like we said, he conserves his energy. So he's not zooming through, in the car lane, on the HOA car lane, zooming down at top speed. Take his time. He eats. All right, cool. What's the next one? That one?
Right.
And take his time. So you can do that once a month. Now, what I'm finding out is that he could last. Some say that he can last a year without eating. I saw somewhere that says over 100. Now, I don't know if I can personally, if it's once a month for peak, I can't see over 100 years. That's just me personally. Now, like I said, just from my understanding, I don't think I can see the 100 years, in between eating. I don't know if I can see that. And that's really more or less to him being reserves are low. He's like right at the end. If he doesn't eat anything soon within 100 years type of scenario, that's it. The lights are out for him. But I can probably accept maybe the 1 year. I can accept that, maybe.
I can see the 1 year, right? If you're looking at his, 12 meals, okay, I can see the 1 year. The 100 years I find hard to believe because, and I'll tell you why. I'm in line with you. Real quick, there was the story, Secret Wars. Secret Wars Volume 1, Maxi Series, 12 issues with Mike Zeck, okay? With the Beyonder. So everyone's battling. Near the end, I think it was near the end of those issues, at one point, Galactus is there. Great. So everyone's, you got one team fighting the villains. They're all fighting, trying to get, control. The Beyonders observing everything. Galactus is there. The thing is, they can't sway Galactus one way or the other to, hey, join our team, join our team. So if he doesn't join the villains, he doesn't join the heroes. Galactus is like, this is a planet with a lot of energy. And Galactus starts constructing his world eating machine.
Right.
And he's getting ready to devour the machine which is made up of all different pieces of different worlds brought together all over Battle World by the Beyonder. And Galactus is getting ready to eat it. And then Dr. Doom turns around and says, nope, I can't let Galactus eat this because we're still on this planet.
Right.
So he goes to make the machines. Doom comes up with a plan saying, hey guys, Galactus is about to eat this machine, eat this planet. We're all here. We got to stop him. And then that's when the heroes and the villains unite. But of course, this is Doom. He's already got another plan. So they destroy his machines. They totally destroy his machines. And Galactus looks at the machines. Then he looks up and Galactus flies away. He doesn't say anything to anybody. During this whole plot, Dr. Doom turned around and took Claw, who's the one that makes the ultrasound, the sound, you see him in Black Panther, you hear about him, but Claw, and he's a master of sound. He turns around and takes Claw because Claw doesn't have, his body's made out of sound, and he slices Claw up. I know it sounds nasty, but Claw doesn't have organs like us. So Claw is a solid sound. He slices Claw up, and Claw's still alive, and he makes lenses out of Claw's body, and he waits because Galactus realizes that he needs to eat. He can't eat Battle World. His machine got destroyed. There's only one thing he can do and eat in peace. That's his home world ship that he called over, which is Tea 2. He calls that over. Right. He flies up and he's about to eat it. And then that's where Doom flies up and then takes the power cosmic away from Galactus and, gives himself that kind of power. No, or uses that to get the power of the Beyonder. That's it. Right. But he has to use Claw, Galactus, inadvertently to get that. So Galactus can't go 100 years without eating because Galactus was about to eat his own home planet that he made, which is a machine. And that was less than 100 years, 1966. And then what? Secret Wars was in the 80s, 90s kind of thing. Yeah, that's not 100 years. We good. So I don't know how the person gets 100 years. Galactus is about to eat his own home. And he's got there. They even said he called his home world to him. He's looking at his home world ship. There's a moment of silence. You can tell there's remorse in his thoughts, in his expression, and he made a decision like, I have to do this or I die. Okay, that's a hard thing to come to, but he had to make it, and he went through. He was going through with it until he got stopped again. Right. So can't do the 100 years. I'm definitely not doing 100 years, but this is, Galactus at his best. So Galactus does have a key role within the cosmic entities and deities within the Marvel Universe. Sometimes he always goes back to Earth for different reasons. He said he would stay away from Earth because when promise he made to Reed Richards to Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer finally gets away, and he's like, "Well, I'm hungry. I don't have patience to go back." And this is why he always goes back to Earth, because that's a meal. He knows exactly the coordinates of Earth. Instead of
Mm-hmm.
looking for another 3 days, he's at the point where he can't go. So this is why he keeps coming back to Earth a lot. This is why other heralds have come from Earth to kind of take on that role of Silver Surfer, saying, "Spare my planet. I'll find something for you to eat." Because if you know where you left your sandwich, do you want to make a new sandwich, or are you just going to go back and get the sandwich that's already been made and still good to eat?
I think I'm
Right?
gonna go back to where I left my sandwich.
Yeah, exactly. That's the point. That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing that kind of stops Galactus is his appetite, but he's not evil.
Right.
He's it's not like he's good or evil. He's just hungry. He's a misunderstood individual.
Just saying.
And he's had multiple heralds over the years, right? You
Yeah.
know, and we'll talk about those in another time. But when I say like the list goes on, he's had on like Airwalker, Dazzler was his herald at one point, who we just talked about
That's
recently,
right. That was
right? You
right.
know, the Destroyer, which is that armor from Thor from Asgard, uh, Doctor Strange, the Fallen One, Fire Lord, Galactus, which is a different person there altogether, Golden Oldie, which was Aunt May, who became his herald at one point. I know Aunt May. Nothing kills Aunt May. She's the strongest person in the Marvel universe. One called
100%.
Invisible Boy, but it really was the Human Torch from the Fantastic Four. Hazar from the Savage Land. You know, the Executioner Nova. So Nova 2, not Nova Richard Rider, but Nova, which is Frankie Ray. She was the girlfriend of the Human Torch from the Fantastic Four. She has her own storyline. We might talk about that
Mm-hmm.
one day. You know, Rom the Space Knight. We talked about him.
Yep.
Silver Surfer, we know. Stardust, we know. Barracks the Tamer. Oh, we gonna talk about him. You know, Thor. Yes, that Thor. And for anyone not reading comic books and thinking we mean Thor, Chris Hemsworth Thor, yes, and it goes on. So these are some of the heralds that he's had over the years since his,
Mm-hmm.
first adventure in 1966. That being said,
Mm.
we know Galactus is not a gaseous cloud. He is a very smart individual. His pursuit
Mm-hmm.
is just to stave off the hunger. He's got many names. And if you are a fan right now, I'm going to say this before we get into it. Fan right now, Secret Invasion, that's on on Disney Plus, or you read
Right.
Secret Invasion, the comic book. How come Secret Invasion happened? Because of Galactus. Galactus ate the Skrull home world. That's how it got destroyed. This is why the Skrulls are not there. That is the comic book version of it. Of Galactus got there, went tasty morsel, and
Mm.
Skrulls took off as quick as possible and left it for Galactus because they couldn't stop him. So this is why the Skrulls need a new homeworld. It wasn't because of the Kree. It wasn't because of the Shi'ar. It was literally Galactus was hungry, saw it, stopped for a snack, sweep on next. He kept on going. So I
You
hope
know,
they do.
they may. I mean, it still left it in it. When Talos was talking to the last episode that I saw, when
Mm,
Talos was giving that information, why they really left. Up to that point, he had lied. He never told Fury the reason
yep,
why.
yep.
So in reality, it could still be a part on part. I didn't give you the complete truth. We ran out because yeah, the scrolls are after us and all. I mean, our planet's separated among themselves, whatever the case to be. But they separated among themselves because there was an individual trying to eat the planet.
What? Yeah, because now Disney owns Marvel, and Marvel got the rights back to Fantastic Four. So they got the rights for Fantastic Four. That means they got the rights to these characters. All right, dog. Here we go. Rod,
Okay. Sir,
if you had to Galactus to the world today, how would you want to see this character portrayed, and by who?
I would actually, I would actually want it to be uh live action. I want a live character. Now, I will admit I've been debating, do I want it to be a series or do I want him to be part of another franchise in the sense like Galactus by himself, there's meat on the bones for him. But
Yeah.
I think as per he's been already introduced in Marvel, he has that type of story that he keeps coming in, dropping out. He's a guest appearance. He's basically a guest character, and any stories around him could be built, stop, built, stop, built,
Yeah.
stop
Okay.
on that. So I would basically, how's the best way of saying, the same way like, you know what? The same way like, right, well, do they have the rights back? I'm trying to remember right now at this point if the Hulk, if, Disney doesn't have the rights for Hulk as yet. Is that correct? Just to refresh my memory.
I don't think so. No, not yet.
I don't think so,
Not
no. But
fully.
the same way that the Hulk doesn't have his own, standalone Marvel movie, but he
Mhm.
keeps popping in and out in everybody else's one. I would like Galactus to be like that. So I wanted
Okay.
the live action one because in a sense, like we know he's just going to be that cosmic entity that is just bigger beyond life, that demigod type of scenario. So I wanted someone that basically when I see him, I know is one of those kind of looks that you're like, yeah, I'm going to respect this guy. Yeah, he's a serious individual. I would like to play Galactus. I would like Colin Firth. Now, I would like because I want someone that the majority of time, again, he has to be that type of presence that basically you fear and you respect. That he doesn't even have to talk. He doesn't even have to talk.
He doesn't have to say
When he
much.
talks, he doesn't say much. I was gonna say he doesn't have to talk. But when he talks, I want this commanding words that makes you say like, And I just know maybe I'm just, being biased in that sense. I think I want a British accent. I want something just completely different. I want a
Okay.
British accent. And you didn't realize it's British accent. I'm like saying maybe from the beginning of time, British accent's been there, but that'll just start a whole nother wheel
I don't
of
know. There's
jokes.
British accents that started off in Lord of the Rings. That was supposed to be prehistoric, right?
Right. So, yeah, but I mean, he had the presence again in Kingsman in that regard.
Yes.
That's where I know he's done many other stuff, but
Oh, the King's Speech,
the
phenomenal
King's
movie.
Speech, right? That's another one again. But because of the presence that you saw him in Kingsman, I'm like, yeah, I think I want him there. I want Colin to have that presence. So basically, when you speak and you realize like this is an entity that you don't really want to mess around with. Like you can try to see if you want to take him out, but you're playing with fire.
Yeah.
And you sure you want to do that? Okay. I'm just saying, manners maketh a man. If this man ever said that in that particular form, I was done. I'm just sorry. I'll be mentally dead. I'll be like the cabbage guy from Avatar. I'm over. Manners maketh man. If somehow he actually had a way of writing it into the script.
Right. Okay. Okay. I got you. I got you. So you say live action and Colin Firth.
Live
Okay.
action. Yeah.
Live action and just kind of guessed. Okay. I got it. I like that. So here we go. For my idea here, what I'm thinking is first and foremost, I'm going with a dual role. So I want his origin story to be done as a cartoon. So I once again, I'm always pitching this, and I'm going to go back to it. Right, give me this origin story under the Marvel Premiere brand. Like I think DC should really do Marvel Premieres and just have a team that does it and just do one shots, like how they did What If kind of thing, but just do one shots and
Okay.
put it out that way because this, you're going to get the backstory without having to invest into a big budget picture.
Okay.
Now, keep in mind, I'm always a fan of unifying everything. So whoever plays the voice of Galactus in the cartoon will do
Right.
Galactus in the live action movie,
100%.
and he has to show up in Fantastic Four. He has to be, he's got to be, and if they do a Fantastic Four trilogy, it's got to be a Fantastic Four trilogy. We've talked about this before, and it's got to be like a two-parter at the end dealing with Galactus. So film 3 part 1, film 3 part 2. Boom, there we go. Dealing with Galactus, he's that big, that much present. So I want to do Marvel Premiere, do it as a cartoon, and my guy would still play the live action. Now I went between two people, but I'm going to use another person for someone else. So we went live action, two people. So the guy I'm going with, that I'm sticking with, is actually, and he's done superhero stuff before. Patrick Patrick Warburton. He played Krunk. He plays Putty on Seinfeld. He does the voice of Joe on Family Guy. He did the voice of the Tick in the original live action. When they did the original live action. Yeah. That's who I'm going with. You know, you can't. And yeah. Warburton, Patrick Warburton.
Yeah.
He's got that, you know, that dry wit, but his voice
is recognizable.
Recognizable. When he did Krunk, he does it always with a little bit of a whim of humor with it. If we dial back the humor just a couple of percent, so when he speaks, he can do the whole pre-Galactus scientist showing more emotion, and then he can do post-Galactus. Doesn't really show emotion, but his voice is unique, and the cadence in his voice will convey certain messages. So you can see, I mean, Galactus can be sarcastic. He can say things that you're like, wait a minute, are you serious or is he joking? I don't know. Let's not take a chance. Good enough.
Right.
Patrick Warburton.
Yeah.
I know I'm messing up the name. Patrick Warburton can do this in my vision. So I would like him to do, give me an hour and a half, or hour 20-minute Marvel premiere Galactus origin as Galen, transition to Galactus up to the point where he gets the Silver Surfer, and then end that movie on where you see it from his point of view, where the Surfer says, you know, oh, there seems to be a planet in the Sol system. Let me go. And he starts to make his way there, and the movie ends off because you know it's going to be him now meeting the Fantastic Four. You don't need to have that. You just need to know the Silver Surfer's out there. The Silver Surfer sent that message, and that's how that Marvel premiere would end, is Galactus on his way to Earth. Okay. Now, live action, when you get into Silver Surfer, the other Herald, there's other storylines I think that could happen, and we'll talk about that another time. Then we get into the rest of them, right? But that's where I want to be. That's how I want to see it. And then, of course, Patrick, he's a big man himself. Yeah. Him in the Galactus costume would look really, really nice.
Okay.
He's got that jawline. Okay. That you put that helmet on. He's got the physique. Even physically, he's got that presence that would sell it to me even more. There we go. So that's who I'm going with, Galactus.
Okay then. Interesting. It takes me a minute because you know the funny. I was thinking not him, but I was thinking having someone like a comedic actor, and then I was like,
I know you're going.
I wanted to go somewhere, but I was like, no, he has to be that serious type of. You said the right word, dry type of, dialogue, that type of dry type of conversation. That speech. So yeah, you're right, Patrick. Patrick would be able to pull that off nicely. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So that's who I'm going with. So, any last words, Cuz? Any last words for the people that are listening? And
listen, I want to just say thank you for checking us out. Listen, make sure you don't keep this secret to yourself. You know, tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody. You're on the bus, you're in the hallway, you're at the mall, wherever, you're at the car park. Let everybody know that Iconic Podcast is here, and we got some stuff for you that, entertains you. You're enjoying it. We appreciate that. All again, make sure you hit the likes and subscribe and comments in the below, and hit that share button. Copy and paste the link and send it out to your friend. Let it go.
Don't let the show be a secret.
No.
Awesome. Once again, thank you everyone for tuning in. I said, and paying attention to our little show here that we like to do. We love doing it, and we're going to keep on doing it. This has been the Iconics Podcast, and on behalf of, this is Barry Carter, aka Barry 3D. On my side is my cousin, as always,
Rod C. Yes.
Right on. And remember, this whole world was created by a pencil, a piece of paper, and lots of imagination. Keep on dreaming. We're out.
The long arm of Galactus.
You say long arm of Galactus. I'm going to go outside to the smoker. We got a smoker going right now, and I've been smelling this food all day. All right, then.
I'll be there shortly.
Sweet. Save you some ribs.
Thank you.